Welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving straight into a high-stakes, character-driven, psychological thriller straight from the ancient epic, the Mahabharata. This is a story all about the painful intersection of duty and desire. It's about those completely impossible choices we sometimes face when our absolute deepest moral obligations crash head-on into the things we want most in the world.
So, tell me, have you ever made a promise you instantly regretted? We all do, right? In modern life, it's blindly clicking agree to the terms and conditions without reading a single word. But in this ancient context, that exact same trap is what our protagonist, King Nala, falls into. Except for him, the consequences are on a literal cosmic scale.
Let's start with part 1, the blind promise, agreeing to the unknown.
Our story kicks off with a massive, fatal mistake and 3 simple words: I will do it. Nala blindly locks himself into a vow, and it's only after those fateful words leave his mouth that he approaches these mysterious strangers, folds his hands, and basically asks, "Wait, who are you, and what exactly do you want me to do?" It is a breathtakingly dangerous move, and honestly, a masterclass in what not to do when approached by strangers.
Imagine the absolute horror when Nala realizes exactly who he just gave his word to. We're talking about Maghavat revealing himself as the great Indra, Agni, Varuna, the Lord of Waters, and then, terrifyingly, Yama, known literally as the destroyer of the bodies of men. Realizing you just wrote a blank check to the guardians of the universe, and specifically the god of death? Yeah, Nala is completely helplessly outmatched here.
The reality of this blind promise drops on him, and it is horrifying. First, he has to bypass these stern guards completely unseen to enter a heavily guarded palace. Second, he needs to find the beautiful Princess Damayanti. Third, he has to convince her to choose one of these 4 gods for her lord. The brutal, tragic twist here? Nala himself is hopelessly in love with Damayanti. He literally has to act as a wingman for the gods to the very woman he's in love with.
Naturally, Nala panics. Wouldn't you? He pleads with them, saying, "How can a person who is himself under the influence of love bring himself to speak thus unto a lady on behalf of others?" He desperately begs the gods to spare him from this absolute torture, openly admitting his own love for her. He's essentially asking them, "Hey, have a heart, let me out of this deal."
Which brings us to part 2, an impossible dilemma of duty versus desire.
Seriously, ask yourself what you would do if you were caught in this trap. Do you break a solemn vow made to literal gods and risk total divine annihilation from Yama, the destroyer of bodies? Or do you keep your word, but shatter your own heart by handing the woman you love over to someone else? Now, if you thought the gods might have even a shred of empathy for a mortal in love, well, think again. They tell him, "O ruler of the Nishavas, having promised first, saying, 'I will,' why wilt thou not act accordingly now?" They show zero sympathy. They brutally hold him to his technical agreement because there are no loopholes in heaven. They force him to carry out the mission without delay, proving that a word given is an unbreakable bond.
Moving on to part 3, the magical infiltration, a phantom intruder.
To make this totally impossible task actually possible, Nala gets a little help via Indra's boon. When Nala points out that the mansions are heavily guarded, Indra just brushes it off and says, "Thou shalt be able to enter." It's basically a divine VIP pass, allowing Nala to magically bypass all the guards and seamlessly slip unperceived right through the stern mandates of the king.
The dramatic irony in Damayanti's chambers is just suffocating. Damayanti is there, blazing in beauty, literally rebuking the light of the moon. Her handmaids are springing up in total amazement, completely confounded by Nala's sudden, splendid appearance. And Nala? His love is increasing by the second as he sees her, yet he has to violently suppress his passion. He is completely bound to keeping his terrible truth and fulfilling his divine duty. The handmaids are literally silenced by his presence. They are completely bashful, internally screaming, "Is he some god or yaksha or Gandharva?" They are praising him in gladness of heart, but they're so bewildered by his sudden glowing appearance that they can't even get a word out.
This brings us to our emotional climax in part 4. The agonizing message, delivering heartbreak.
Damayanti looks at him, smiles, and confesses, "What art thou, O thou of faultless features, that hast come here awakening my love?" That's right. She is literally telling him she's falling for him right then and there. She's looking at the man she loves, confirming her own affection, which makes his impending rejection infinitely more tragic.
She keeps questioning him, totally amazed at how this celestial hero bypassed all her guards completely undetected. She's completely captivated by his stealth and his faultless features, having absolutely no idea about the heartbreaking payload he is carrying. Faced with this incredible confession, Nala tragically sticks to his vow. He swallows his feelings, introduces himself simply as Nala, and declares he is merely a messenger. He dutifully lists Sakra, Agni, Varuna, and Yama as her suitors, confessing that their divine power allowed him to enter unseen. He completely suppresses everything his heart wants to say, robotically pitching the celestial suitors to the very woman who just told him she has feelings for him. Ouch.
He finishes the pitch with a devastating blow. Hearing this, O fortunate one, do what thou pleasest. Nala formally delivers the message and completely steps aside. He places this crushing burden of choice entirely onto Damayanti's shoulders. He fulfilled his duty to the gods perfectly, but effectively sealed his own unhappiness in the process.
Which leaves us with one final burning question. Who will Damayanti choose? Nala kept his promise. He survived the impossible dilemma of duty over desire, but the trap has now simply been passed to Damayanti. Will she defy the immortals for the man standing right in front of her, risking the absolute wrath of the destroyer of men? Or will she yield to the gods and break both of their hearts? Think about what you would do in the face of such overwhelming pressure. Thanks so much for learning with me today, and I'll leave you to ponder that impossible choice.